In this video, I'll be sharing with you 6 of my tips on buying the best used iPhone possible, or at least increasing those odds. These 6 things being seller and site reputation, type of website, battery health, use of original parts, carrier compatibility, and software support. For in depth information on these 6 important factors to consider when buying used, keep watching. So let's get started. Seller and site reputation. The seller and site should both be reputable, meaning the site should be well put together and offer returns for buyer protection. And as for the seller, they should have a filled out user profile, provide product details with descriptions, multiple photos, and be willing to answer your questions. Reviews can also be a way to gauge a site or seller's legitimacy. Now, with that being said, all sellers must start somewhere. Zero feedback from a seller on a trusted site that offers protection to its buyers and returns can be okay. That is, given the seller is responsive, provides you with all the information you need, and has lots of pictures of the product. Even so, buying from an established seller with reviews is usually the best way to go. Either way, willingness to answer your questions about the phone's history and providing all the pictures you need, even from a new seller, is a good sign. Next is website type. When looking at used tech sites, there are some sites that show you the actual phone you are buying. These sites, such as Swappa, are user based, meaning individual sellers are listing their phones for sale on this site and typically have actual pictures of the phone you'll be getting with detailed information on the condition of the phone you'll actually be getting. On the contrary, other reputable used tech sites such as Backmarket and Amazon Renewed are using stock images and a generic condition description, not showing you the actual phone you'll be getting, but rather a general idea of what to expect. Be sure when looking at used iPhones that you ask or read the description to know if the phone you are looking at is indeed the exact phone you're buying. If you trust the site enough to buy it and just return it, if the condition isn't what they said or what you expected it to be, then go for it. But if you want to save a potential return, try to find a listing using pictures of the actual phone you're buying. Another site type you may consider using is Facebook Marketplace, allowing you to pick up phones in your local area from local sellers. Some sellers also offer shipping, and you can shop from sellers outside of your area that way. However, if you are looking to do local pickup or exchange money through means other than Facebook's protected checkout process, it can be more of a gamble compared to trusted resale sites that can offer returns or refunds if the seller's honesty or phone is less than desired when you receive it. If you meet someone from Marketplace and do a money exchange outside of Facebook's protection policy, you may be out of money if that phone you're buying isn't right. Don't put yourself in a situation where the only money guarantee you have about your purchase is the person's word. Okay, so you've went over what different types of sites you can use and what to look for as far as the site and the seller. So, what else should you be looking for? Let's move on to other details. These details I mention will be located in the listing and description section of whatever phone you're looking to buy. If these details I'm about to mention are not listed, ask the seller to provide them. Here are the big things to look for and ask about. Battery health. This means how well the battery will perform for you. Used phones often have batteries that aren't to their original capacity, meaning every time the phone has been charged through a complete battery cycle, over time, it creates a battery that isn't going to hold a charge as long as it once did. You don't want to purchase a phone that has a battery health below 90%, in my opinion. While 80% or below is the recommended for a battery replacement, purchasing a phone with 90% or above will give you plenty of time with the phone before the battery needs replaced, which that replacement only adds to your investment cost of the phone. Sure, that phone you're looking at might be a great deal. However, if that battery was heavily used and is at 83%, and you're someone that wants your phone to last all day, a battery replacement at a shop or at an Apple store is going to add to that cheap price you see right now, making it less worth than a similar phone listed with a better battery. Next, you want to look for if the phone uses original parts or not. So, look to see if the seller mentions if it's refurbished or has had any non original Apple parts used. While not a deal breaker, original parts are a good sign that a repair was done well and that the phone is going to operate and last as expected. When an iPhone is using non original parts, it will usually display alerts and settings stating that it is not using genuine parts. Not all non genuine Apple parts are created equal. For instance, an iPhone using an original Apple battery at 93% battery health still might be a better option over a phone that has a brand new non genuine battery at 100% health. That's because the quality of the parts can make a big difference in the longevity. And since you don't know if that non genuine battery is good quality, choose wisely and from a good seller if you're going to go with an iPhone that has non genuine parts. All right, we've talked batteries, we've talked genuine parts. How about carrier compatibility? I mean, what's a reliable phone if it can't be used on your service plan? So, what to look for here is to make sure you can use your used iPhone on your current carrier, is to make sure the phone is unlocked. What that means is make sure it's not tied to anyone else's specific carrier or account. Typically, if an iPhone is tied to someone else's account or can't be used on other carriers, the information is found in settings as well. Under the About section in General Settings, scrolling down to Carrier Lock, listed in that section, will either name a wireless carrier or it will say No SIM restrictions. No SIM restrictions is what you want to see. That means the phone really is unlocked and, like it states, doesn't have any restrictions. The SIM card is what gives your phone service, and the SIM card is provided by your carrier. So, no SIM restrictions, that's what you want. And if you're shopping with sites such as Swappa, you can search by what carrier you have in order to ensure compatibility. And that being said, though, most iPhones sold as unlocked should work with your carrier regardless. But be sure to ask questions with your seller or with your carrier if needed. Also, don't be afraid to ask for pictures to prove this information. All right, and the last thing on my suggestions list is to make sure the phone isn't too old. Getting a great deal on a used device is an awesome thing, and typically, the older you go, the cheaper the phone gets. However, software support is also very important. iPhones last a long time with software support, meaning the system is compatible with the latest apps and security. With that said, they aren't supported forever. For instance, at the making of this video, which is fall of 2023, the iPhone XS and above is still supported by current software, and that phone was released in fall of 2018. For the most part, every year you can expect the oldest supported iPhone to be removed. So the newer the iPhone you get, the longer it will be supported. And this is my advice. If the price is close, it can sometimes be beneficial to spend a bit extra in order to get the newer model that's a year newer for that reason. It'll get you typically an extra year of software updates. So if the price is pretty close between two models and the one is newer, just go for the newer one. All right, thank you for watching. I hope you found these tips helpful. This is advice I would give friends or family when buying a used iPhone. You're doing a wonderful thing buying used, and it's a great way to save some money too.